what did you have to do to audition for Stomp?
The breakdown is always dancers who drum and drummers who dance. That was like the original thing. And so you had to be able to obviously play and make music with these like very non-traditional instruments, which is super challenging. And it ends up being a whole trajectory even after you get hired, where you're trying to figure out how to make music with these very weird and non-traditional instruments like brooms and poles and garbage cans and all this other stuff where it's not natural. For the very first audition, all that they do, I think, is hands and feet, which is like what it sounds like, where you're doing like literally stomping and clapping your hands, and they teach you this basic groove that is like sort of the heartbeat of that whole number and the groove of that whole number. And so that alone, I think, shows them a whole lot about who is comfortable taking on that kind of material, who's comfortable translating that to their body in a way where you can move, and, you know, obviously learning quickly because there's a ton of material in the show. And so they teach you that. And then also within that first audition, you go into and you solo. And so you have to basically use your own creativity and your own way of, you know, figuring out and improvise rhythmically, et cetera. And you go into the middle of the semicircle and you do basically like a 4-bar improvised solo, which is pretty heavy to go in. Like it's, you know, people sitting at this table and just kind of watching and, you know, and being cool Stomp people, because the Stomp people are already cool, especially from the outside looking in, and you're trying to be cool and you're trying to be this whole thing. And, you know, for the drummers, you're like, cool, I can play with drumsticks, or I could play on my legs and, you know, play with my hands, but like, can you integrate your whole body into it? And can you do anything that might look semi-interesting? And can you stay in time when you're in the midst of trying to navigate all those things at the same time and play something maybe musical and interesting? You know, it's so, and then the dancers have the other challenge, which is that they don't necessarily play the drums, or they play a little bit, and so they can move really well, but they have to be able to play and make rhythms and do all that kind of stuff. And so that's the first round, and then they cut a lot from that round. And then the second round, they give you a big, you know, 6-foot wooden pole and a hammer handle. And then it starts to get really nuts, because then there's like much more coordination that starts to happen. And are you slamming the pole on the ground? Are you hitting the pole with a hammer handle? Are you stomping your foot? Are you stomping your left foot, your right foot? It's like, are you lifting, you like throw up the poles and hit them and they get a tone? Like, it starts to get complex pretty quickly. And so you get into that. I think they gave us brooms in the second audition. And then in the third and final audition, you do all of those things again. And then they just keep adding on, where they give you garbage can lids that you hold on your hands, and you have to do some movement with that. And they just start to get into more and more of the show and start to sort of like try to pull out more and more people's personalities and see where they might fit. And so that's it.